Hey Krafty Friends, it's Jen from Katahdin Krafts, and today I am participating in the YouTube Hop for the May release for Crescent Creation. They're releasing 4 new digital stamps this month, and this release is called the Best Dads release, which is perfect timing to get all of those Father's Day cards started. That will be here before we know it. For my card today, I am working with Mountain Border and Beary Special. I really liked these little bears that were in this stamp set. There's also a little camper and a cute, like old-fashioned kind of station wagon. So I will make sure that I have all of that linked below so you can go and check it out on the site. Now, to start off my card, what I did was I used Photoshop Elements when I'm using digital stamps, and I went in and downloaded the Mountain Border and then the Beary Special, and I built my scene that way with layers. All of the digital stamps are white in the center and clear on the outside, so they really do layer easily. And so then I just played around with how I wanted my tent, and the fun thing with digitals is you can change up your sizes and you can duplicate them. So I could have as many little bears as I wanted to. That is definitely the fun part of working with digital, is that you have a lot more play with them. And you can also, if you had like a scan and cut or any sort of Cricut or anything, you can put that through your program and you can cut those out individually as well. So what I did is I planned out my card with my sentiment and everything. So this is a very simple way I could make several of them for grandfathers, fathers, whatever I wanted to do. And I printed this out on 80-pound cardstock that is Copic marker friendly. And I did print 2 out, as you could see, on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, just for simplicity. It was easy to print out of my printer that way, and it gave me another extra scene just in case I messed my first one up. Like, I almost had an uh-oh right there. My Copic marker leaked a little bit. So as you can see, I have that open on the side, and that helps to pressurize your Copic markers when one of them wants to leak a little bit. And now I did speed this up because this card does have a lot of coloring, because that is basically what it is. After you get your scene built in your digital program, it's all just about coloring. I chose to do Copics. I thought about pulling out some colored pencils, so it really is personal preference of what you like to use for a coloring medium. And as you can see, I am using 3 different colors for this. I have a little scratch piece of paper on the side that I was just testing some colors on to see how green and yellow that I wanted to go. And then what I do when I Copic color is I shadow map first. So I'm using my lightest tone, which is the YG01. All of my caps are going to be there on the side for you. And then I'm using my medium tone, which is the YG03, and then my darker tone was the YG17. And now I'm going to go in and do the same thing with these pretty pine trees. I live in Maine, so this scene is very dear to my heart. We are the pine tree state, and we of course are the home of the black bears. So everything about this just screams perfect for my husband or my dad. You know, I guess it does say to a very special dad. So this can be a great gift for my dad, a nice homemade card from me. So anyway, back to the pine trees. I'm doing the same coloring process with them. I am mapping out with my lightest color, the YG61. Then I go back in with my medium tone, my mid-tone, which is YG63. And then I go to my darkest, YG67. And then I slowly build up that ink base, because the more that you can saturate your paper, then the more it will blend. And I am using only an 80-pound cardstock, and I do tend to use 110 quite often. So I had to kind of remember that a little bit, and it did get quite saturated, so I just had to be careful. And I wanted that tent to have a little bit different shades because there's a lot of greens going on in this, so I went with a brown tone. I was almost thinking of like a military tent when I was building this. And I like the way it looks, that crafty color. So again, I'm using the triple tones and just building out my scene, or building out my element. And now we're going on to the sky. So if this wasn't digital, or if I wanted to take the time to make a mask, oftentimes when I do my skies, I do like oxide ink blending, but Copics really do work well, especially if you take the time to blend them, and you can get a nice seamless background with them as well. It's just about building up that saturation again. So I'm using my lightest BG color that I have, which is the quadruple 0. And then I'm going in with a little bit of the darker shade on those edges to kind of give it a vignette look. And now I'm going to build my cute little bears, and they are going to be black bears. And so I'm using my tonal gray colors because I'm going to use the neutrals on that rocky mountain in the background. Now they look like kind of like a hot mess right now, but that's all about building up that saturation again so they will blend out nicely. And I do take the time, that's why I did speed this up, because we would have been here for a long time, and I want you to make sure that you get to see all the other ladies that are on this hop, because there's lots and lots of inspiration for you and lots of wonderful ideas with these new digital stamps. Now, Crescent Creations is pretty new to the digital stamp scene, but they are coming out with some really fun stuff. So I suggest that you all definitely stay tuned and check out their new or their website, their Etsy shop, which they also have other items on there. They have a lot of embellishments. I think you're going to like it. So I will have all of that linked below for you. Now, doing these mountains, I did use my neutral tones. I used the lightest, well, one of the lighter ones, the N1, N3, and N5 with a little N7. When I'm doing it like this, I do go every other color for my coloring scheme. So if I started with the 2, I would have went 2, 4, 6. That is just the way I tend to do it, especially with the grays. And I just like to get that little bit of a subtle difference and when I'm building up the highlights and the shadows. So now I had a piece of this cool polished stone paper that was made here in Maine years ago in my stash, and I thought that it was quite masculine and would go really well with this card. My card panel was cut to 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and then my card frame is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. And you can see the saturation that I did achieve when I was coloring right here as I'm gluing down my card panel to the base. And then I often call that not the base, but the frame. So this is my card frame, which is the same size as my card base. So I'm just going to adhere that down. I'm going to use a block for a little bit of weight. And I always do use liquid glue, so I have that little bit of wiggle room. And I'm just using a block, making sure it's cleaned off, because, you know, I've made that mistake with some glue on there and then you ruin your card. Not fun times. So there you have it, my cute little scene made from the new Crescent Creation digital stamps. And there is a giveaway with this release. 4 of you are going to have the opportunity of winning the whole digital stamp sets, all 4 of them. The winner's going to be announced on May 27th, and all you have to do is hop along and leave all of us a comment below, please. And then you will be entered into the giveaway. So you could be one of the 4 people to win this whole Digiset release for the month. Thanks so much for crafting with me today. I really appreciate it. Make sure you check out Neha and Crescent Creation, and I will have that linked below. Thank you so much. Happy crafting!